If you ever want to run SQL queries in Java, you're going to need to use JDBC. Hey everyone, I'm Soham, and in this tutorial, we'll learn how to connect to a Postgres database using JDBC and run basic SQL queries in our Java application. First, we'll go through an overview of what the JDBC library is and some of the main classes that are used in most applications. Then we'll dive into some code to see how we can connect to a Postgres database from our Java application and run common database operations. Although we are using Postgres for this example, the same concepts apply to any database supported by JDBC like MySQL or SQL Server. We'll also learn how to identify and handle errors that our database may return so that we can make our application more stable and robust. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. It is a set of APIs that we can use to connect and execute queries on any compatible database, like Postgres. Most of the classes and methods that we'll be using are a part of the java.sql and javax.sql packages, which come included as part of Java SE. Let's look at how data is retrieved from a database from most applications. We create a connection to the database. We send a query statement, something like select star from my table. The database returns the results, and we use the results in our application. The JDBC API contains classes that describe each of these steps. The connection class represents the connection that we make with our database. Prepared statement represents the query statement that will be executed. The results are returned by the database as a result set instance that contains our queried data. In the next sections, we'll look at some examples of how we can do this in practice. First, we'll need to install Postgres. If you haven't done this already, you can see the installation instructions in the video description. We can now enter the PSQL shell in our terminal and create a new database. For this example, we're creating a database of birds. This has a single table with an ID, bird name, and description. We'll add some sample data to populate this database. Now let's look at our Java project. When using JDBC, we need to install the driver of the database we are using. In this case, that would be the PostgreSQL JDBC driver, which we can add as a dependency to our pom.xml file. Remember, the JDBC library itself only defines the framework and interfaces. The database driver is an implementation of the JDBC API interfaces and allows our application to use JDBC classes to interact with the database. When we add this library as a dependency, it sets up the implementation under the hood. To execute queries, we need to create a connection to the database. However, creating a connection is resource intensive, and we normally use a data source interface, which acts as a factory that provides connection instances. Let's create a function that can construct a new data source for us. The Postgres driver library gives us a helper class with which we can create new data sources. We can construct a new data source by providing the connection string for the database that we just created. You should replace these with your own database credentials. Now that we have a data source, let's look at some code that will execute a query to read all the entries present in the birds table. We can use the method we defined earlier to create a data source. From this, we can get a connection instance, which we can pass to another function called getAllBirds that will run the query. Within the function, we'll create a prepared statement from the connection to get all entries in our database. Once the statement is executed, the results are stored in a result set instance. When reading results, the result set acts as a row-wise scanner. Initially, it points just before the first row. When we call the next method, the pointer moves to the next row in the results and returns true if the row exists. We can use the getString and getLong methods to return each column value of the row as a string and long respectively, and then we can print it to the console. If the result doesn't have any rows at all, calling the next method will return false the first time as well. If we run this code, we should get the database entries printed as the output. In many cases, we need to pass in variables to our query. For example, if we want to filter a particular bird from our birds table, we can add a where clause along with the bird we're interested in. Here we want to pass in the value of the bird filter from our Java code. We can do this by setting parameters on our prepared statement instance. We've modified our query to include a query param denoted by the question mark symbol. We can then use the setString method to assign a value to the param. Now we can execute the query and print the results like before. When we run this code, only the eagle entry is printed. So far, we've seen how to read from our database. However, write operations like inserting data work a bit differently than select queries. In this case, we don't get any results back. Instead, Postgres returns the number of rows that are modified by the write operation. Instead of using statement.execute query like before, we can use the statement.execute update method to insert data. This method returns an integer that denotes the number of rows that were inserted. Let's look at an example when we insert a new bird into our table. First, we create a new insert statement with the bird and description values as query params and set their values. The execute update method is used here instead of execute query and returns the number of modified rows. We can run the code and check our database to see that our data has been inserted. Updating data works in a similar way where we use the execute update method. The return value here will be the number of rows that were modified. If we run the code and check our table again, we can see the updated data for the rooster entry. In the case of delete queries, the execute update method returns the number of rows that were deleted. Looking at the example here, we can delete the same rooster entry that we created and see the output. Our table will now only have the original 2 entries with the rooster entry removed. In real-world applications, we cannot expect our queries to execute correctly 100% of the time. There could be anything from a syntax error to a connection failure. The java.sql package specifies an SQL exception class that is thrown if the database faces an error. We can determine the type of error in our Java program by handling the SQL exception. In the case of Postgres, the documentation specifies a list of error codes that could be returned. For example, this one denotes a connection exception, and this code denotes an invalid password. Let's see how we can handle these errors in our code. We'll use the insert query from before, but this time there's a typo in one of the column names, so this should give us an error. If we run this code as it is, it'll throw an exception. If we don't handle this gracefully, it can cause our entire application to fail, and we definitely don't want that. To handle specific exceptions, we can wrap the insertBird function in a try-catch block, catching the SQL exception instance. We can use the getSQL state to get the exact error code and can then decide how to behave depending on the error code. For example, if there was a connection error, we expect it to be temporary and can retry executing the statement. But if there's a syntax error, we should log it somewhere and fail early. For any other type of error, we can just print it to the console. Let's run the code again with error handling in place. Now we can see that we're able to handle each type of error differently. In this tutorial, we covered the basics on how to connect and execute queries on a Postgres database. In this section, I'll leave you with some more resources to study further. If you want to know more about the different classes available within JDBC, you can look at the official documentation. You can also view the documentation for the PostgreSQL JDBC driver to see Postgres specific classes. In practical applications, we'd probably integrate our database connection with a web application which you'd need to deploy on the cloud. You can see some of my other videos to see how to do this. Finally, you can view and run the complete example code that I've discussed here on GitHub. I've added links for all of these in the description as well. So that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful and I'll see you in the next one.